This morning on our special series, 60 Years of Today, Tom Brokaw and Jane Pauley. The year was 1976. Jimmy Carter was president. Rocky was a box office sensation. And Tom and Jane teamed up to host the Today Show. Some of the biggest stories ever unfolded on their watch. We're going to catch up with them in a moment. But first, a look back.
Coming up during this half hour of Today,
Talking with Dr.
Good morning. I'm Tom Brokaw with Jane Pauley. How are you?
Good morning.
We were like the kids who have the leads in the class play, I suppose. You know, those young people, maybe they'll amount to something someday.
Occasionally we forget to put on the microphone.
Got to keep the equipment warm. We had a big brother, little sister relationship.
Oh, wait a minute.
It was more fun than you know. We went everywhere. I saw every quadrant of the globe.
Welcome to the land of the rising sun, or the city of pouring rain.
Having the confidence that Tom was there was my insurance policy against anything that could happen anywhere in the world, and it sometimes did.
We had hostages taken in Iran.
Iranian students continue to hold more than 50 hostages at the American Embassy in Tehran this morning.
I remember I was awakened in the middle of the night saying somebody has murdered John Lennon.
Beatle John Lennon was shot and killed outside his apartment last night.
It was like my life was set to music, and if so, it was Beatles music.
The Beatles belonged to my generation. I just put my head on the desk and sobbed.
There was a kind of malaise in the country. Ronald Reagan comes along and promises to change things. The city shining on the hill.
President Reagan was wounded yesterday during an assassination attempt on his life.
When Reagan was shot, it's, oh no, not again.
And not too long after that, there's an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul.
John Paul II was the target of an assassination attempt.
So people are wondering, where are we going and what's going on in our world?
Good morning. A splendid morning.
It is, as they say, about almost everything during this day, a splendid morning.
Then the summer of 1981, and it's Charles and Diana.
We were on the edge of our seats just because it was such a great show. And nobody does spectacle like, the British royal family.
We'd been through so many big events.
We've made history. We've covered history.
There had been no bigger audience than the wedding of Charles and Diana.
People waiting in the church didn't have the seat that we had. We had that front row seat.
Tom Brokaw and Jane Pauley, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It brings back memories, right?
It does. Good and bad memories.
Yeah. 1981, Tom, you're on the Today Show, but your background, you had been a White House correspondent. Your boss at the time comes up to you and says, we're going to cover the royal wedding. Initial reaction?
I had not been a royal enthusiast at that point, but I must say it was one of the greatest weeks of my life. I had such a good time over there. And
you were surprised?
I was surprised by that because you couldn't help but be swept away by the tsunami of joyfulness, the pride of the British people. They were perfectly cast. Charles was the most eligible bachelor in the world. Hers was a face that would launch 1,000 magazines, the picture of innocence. And it all played out perfectly. They had wonderful weather, and of course, no window ceremony, better than the United Kingdom. And we had a front row seat. We were literally stationed, as I think you will be, right in front of Buckingham Palace, hanging out with Richard Burton and Michael Caine during the week. Not a bad way to go.
Not a bad way to go. This is the book that we have been given, Jane, to prep.
It made my heart palpitate nervously. Yeah,
you had the same kind of thing.
Binders like that, and I think I probably knew all the numbers and facts and and how many yards in the dress and how many pearls and blah blah blah.
But then once it starts, all of this goes out.
Oh,
right?
it's completely irrelevant because you're just wow, it's like a 4th of July, only it's during daytime and sort of in slow motion because it goes 7 hours of coverage, this one spectacle after another, and you just try to keep up.
And we're looking at the glass carriage of the...
That was one of my memories, was trying to get several hundred yards of fabric and a very large father of the bride in a glass carriage. There genuinely was some concern that it wouldn't manage this.
At one point, we were talking about reverence, we introduced to America Tina Brown, who was not well known then. She'd done the Tatler, and she was very nervous about what she could and could not say because she had a lot of inside information. And on the first day after the first appearance of Diana, I blurted out, "My God, look at her feet; they're as big as gunboats." and Tina knew that she could say almost anything after that.
you got a little criticism for that too. You know, given what had been happening in this country leading up to the wedding, the assassination attempts on the president and the Pope, were we ready for something positive to happen?
I think so, and it swept across the country. A week after I got back, I went out to climb the Grand Teton in the Tetons with my dirtbag climbing friends, and all of their wives and girlfriends had rented motels in the middle of the night to watch the wedding, and I thought, well, that really is a commentary on what the country is looking for. They're looking for a little joy in their lives, a little uplift, and that was the beginning of it, I think.
I think my immortality is as long as people remember Princess Diana and this wedding, which will be a long time, I'm going to kind of be, Zelig in the background.
Well, you said that Tom knew all the facts, and you were sort of more the impressions girl. Your impression of the kiss?
I was so impatient, and you wanted romance, you wanted fairy tale, and they stood there forever, and I kept thinking, I might even have said it out loud, kiss her, kiss her.
Right.
And then that kiss exaggerates the romance. I'm afraid that there wasn't the chemistry that we wanted.
So you even sensed then? I mean,
yeah,
you can't predict
there was a
the
buzz
future.
underground. I had dinner a couple of times with people who were close to the court, women who knew the relationship, and they all said the same thing. This is an arranged marriage. He has another, it was Camilla, he has another girlfriend that the Queen will not approve of him marrying. So that was known going in, and we reflected that very discreetly on the air. Can I just tell you one other thing?
Yeah, sure.
We've never told this story before, and I'm sure you've made the same arrangements. The morning of the wedding, Queen Elizabeth asked Jane to come over and help her pick out a hat.
Of course,
yes. And then Prince Philip kept asking me, what side do I sit on? Do I sit on the left side or the right side? And
well, I'm helping to dress Kate.
They were so grateful for our help. They were so grateful for our help. They went into the vaults and came up with a rare heirloom, which Jane and I are prepared to give to you.
How lovely.
This is something that comes from the ancient history
of
the
China?
royal family.
Thank goodness. A lovely piece of tin. Thank you so much.
Do you have another one for me?
Honey,
Right.
I'll let you have that because you're Zelig. Zelig deserves her tin. Tom, thank you so much. Kate, Kate. Oh, my God, Kate, thank you so much. I'm getting ready.